Hello artists and welcome back. So today I want to continue talking about the painting we covered last class, the School of Athens by Raphael. What I want to talk about today is the development of linear perspective in Renaissance art. Now perspective is a way to show depth and space, which means you're going to take something flat, like the piece of paper or canvas that you are drawing, painting, or collaging on, and you are going to give it depth and form and create space, meaning some things are going to be in the front, some things will be in the middle, and then some will be in the background. Now, prior to the Renaissance, perspective was shown by overlapping people. This is a mosaic from the medieval time period, which started about 500 years before the Renaissance. And to show depth, they just would overlap people, which means one person in front of another person in front of another person as a way to show depth. But the Renaissance come along, specifically two artists, Alberti and Brunelleschi, and they developed linear perspective. And what that meant was they created a horizon line, which is usually where the ground meets the sky, but they also used it to create a focal point. And right now I'm gonna send up a photo that shows how the lines in perspective create a focal point on our two figures right here. Now, what we're gonna work on today is creating a train picture using linear perspective. It's going to be 1-point perspective, which means on our horizon line, that area where the sky meets the ground, there will be one vanishing point. Okay, so for this project, as I said earlier, we're going to show a train track and a train using 1-point perspective. 1-point perspective always starts with a horizon line. So I'm going to use my long ruler, yardstick, if you've got one, and I'm going to draw a straight line across the page. So now that I've got this line going across the page, this is going to be my horizon line. With some of you, I've talked about it before. This part is the ground. This part is the sky. The horizon line is a horizontal line, and it's where the ground meets the sky, like the horizon. Now, when you're using 1-point perspective, you will have one vanishing point. I'm gonna try and put it here near the middle. And that is where all of your lines are going to end up. Briefly, when we made the cylinder and cube project, we talked about drawing this guy, being able to shade some of the sides. We're going to draw this as if one of these faces of the cube is looking directly at you. The rest of the lines are actually now going to move towards this vanishing point. So what that looks like is, first I'm going to draw a square. Well, it might end up being a little more like a rectangle. I feel like trains are probably a little bit taller than they are wide. So here's the end of my train. Scoot it up so you can kind of see the bottom. There you go. Now, unlike before, where I just asked you to draw 3 lines moving in the same direction to represent some of the side faces on the cube, we're going to use our ruler and try and connect the points or the edges of this rectangle to this vanishing point. It's called the vanishing point because it's where the lines look as if they're traveling to and vanish into. Now right now you can see this rectangle looks as if all the sides are vanishing away into our vanishing point. I'm going to pause right now and show a picture of some of the the horizon line and the vanishing point in the School of Athens, so you can see how many lines that Raphael used to vanish into the vanishing point. Now I'm going to continue making my train track. I'm going to make a similar line. I don't want it to be exactly like this, but my train track does need to be somewhere on the outside of the bottom part of my rectangle. Again, using my ruler, anchored down into the vanishing point to create one side of that train track, and then I'm actually going to swing it. I'm going to use my pencil to help secure it. It will be very similar to this vanishing line, this side of the train, to make the other side of our train track. Now it looks like this is all vanishing and moving towards that vanishing point. Train tracks usually have railroad ties and lines that go across. Add as few or as many as you like. As these horizontal lines would start traveling towards this vanishing point, they would actually start getting closer together. So for those of you who continue on with this, try and plan accordingly that they're going to get closer together. Now you can break your train into cars, making a horizontal line and the vertical that matches it to look like you're breaking into train cars. Again, all of these train cars will start to look smaller as they get closer to the vanishing point. So a horizontal line, again, match it up with a vertical line. And then it looks like we have two railroad cars. I'm going to straighten out this line here. Got my eraser for my mistake. Are vanishing and traveling into this vanishing point. Now you can add some wheels if you want to go on the track. Wheels, yes, we know they're circles, but when you draw a circle in perspective, like we learned with the can, they tend to look more like ovals. You can add some windows on here if you want. Doors. I want to finish this off by adding where our train is moving to. I'm going to make this guy move into a tunnel. My vanishing point is now becoming a tunnel. And then I'm going to create some bushes. Now remember, when things are in perspective, what is closest to you is large. As it moves into the distance towards the horizon line or towards the vanishing point, it gets smaller. So see, my bush is quite large here, and then it's starting to get smaller the closer it gets to our tunnel. And I'm going to finish it off with a mountain. So adding some nice drifting up and down lines. Feel free to continue adding on to this if you want to add something else in perspective on this side, add some detail on the train, or practice shading. Say you want, since it's going into a tunnel, this to be dark to light. Whatever you would like to add to this drawing. So this has been a train drawing, a very simple train drawing using 1 point perspective. My next perspective, I'm going to talk about 2 point perspective, where we will no longer have just one vanishing point, but we're going to have two. I look forward to seeing everyone's drawing. Remember, please share minimonets@gmail.com or with the hashtag minimonetsart.com. See you next time.